Our main purpose in Milan is to visit one of the world's largest Gothic cathedrals located right in the heart of the city, Duomo di Milano, Milan Cathedral. It is 150 meters long and 92 meters wide. While in Milan, we would also like to visit the amazing Lake Como, just few minutes by train from Milan.
Duomo di Milano is the fifth largest cathedral in the world. The largest should be St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City.
Plaza del Duomo is the main square of Milan and the true commercial center of the city for the last 7 centuries. The square is the meeting point of Milanese to celebrate important events and together with the adjacent Cathedral of Milan, a desired destination for tourists from all over the world.
We have been in Milan in the winter. It was cold. However, Piazza del Duomo was still full of people. I was wondering how animated the square should be in summer.
Milan is internationally recognized as one of the world's most important fashion capitals, but it also has a wealth of interesting museums and things to see and do. Milan offers all the advantages of a large city, but it's relatively small, thus making it perfect to visit, as tourists can get the most of the city's attractions and museums by foot.
Apart from the majestic Milan Cathedral, the city has a lot to offer.
The historic and modern center of the city, the Piazza del Duomo, the square surrounding the cathedral's base, remains a popular hangout and hub of Milanese life. On this main square of the city, you can see a statue of King Victor Emmanuel II, inaugurated in 1896. The King Victorio Emmanuel II statue is always clean, despite the hundreds of pigeons around. The secret is the small electricity current in the statue that's keeping the birds away. Right next to the Milan Cathedral, directly on the Plaza del Duomo, is one of the most beautiful shopping arcades in Europe, the Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II. A triumphal arch forms the entrance to the passage. The passage consists of 2 corridors, 200 and 100 meters long, covered by a glass roof. This means that you can stroll here dry-footed, even in bad weather, or enjoy your coffee in one of the cafes. In the gallery, you'll find noble shops of posh brands like Prada, Versace or Gucci, and some not exactly cheap cafes and restaurants.
The passage is beautiful. The glass roof is simply imposing.
The Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II is one of the world's oldest shopping malls. The central octagonal space is topped with a glass dome. On the ground of the central octagon, there are 4 mosaics portraying the coat of arms of 3 capitals of the Kingdom of Italy: Turin, Florence and Rome, plus Milan's. Tradition says that if a person spins around 3 times with a heel on the testicles of the bull from Turin coat of arms, this will bring good luck. This practice causes damage to the mosaic, a hole developed on the place of the bull's genitals. Adjacent to Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II, a few steps away from the northern passage entrance of Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II, is the sculpture of Leonardo da Vinci. It is an elaborately designed sculpture and portrays Leonardo da Vinci overseeing 4 of his students, who are located on each of the 4 corners of the base of the monument.
Leonardo da Vinci lived in Milan for 18 years, producing some of his best works, including The Virgin of the Rocks and The Last Supper.
Just across the road from the statue, there is Teatro della Scala of Milan, the most famous opera theater in the world in the past 200 years. Most of Italy's most outstanding opera artists and many of the best singers from all over the world have appeared in La Scala. To this day, the theater is still recognized as one of the world's leading opera and ballet theaters. Inside the main auditorium, the decoration and grandeur of the seating and stage is fantastic. 6 tiers of seating and individual boxes frame the stage in a semicircle, and the whole place is full of red velvet drapes and gold furnishings. 15-minute tram ride from Teatro alla Scala, we reached Milan's Leonardo da Vinci Museum of Science and Technology. The museum is housed in a 16th century monastery and features a collection of more than 16,000 items, including models based on Da Vinci's engineering sketches. It is a fascinating place to delve into the mind of the wise genius overachiever Da Vinci and learn about cutting-edge technology. 40 minutes train from the vibrant Milan lies Italy's 3rd biggest lake, after Lake Garda and Lake Maggiore. With a maximum depth of approximately 410 meters, Lake Como is one of the deepest lakes in Europe. Located at the foot of the Alps, Lake Como provides one of the most picturesque sceneries in the world. It is famed for its atmospheric sense of calm and elegance. The wishbone-shaped lake is over 20 miles long. Its shores are dotted with a collection of rainbow-colored towns and villages whose surrounding hills offer lovely walks and even lovelier views. Part of Milan's charm comes thanks to the lovely yellow vintage trams that crisscross the city, with wooden benches, brass details, and utter cuteness. These trams are incredibly useful connecting Milan's neighborhoods. The tram network in Milan is one of the most developed in the world. While the metro system in Milan only has 4 lines, the tram system is way more developed. Throughout the long centuries of construction and eternal conflict between the builders and designers, Duomo di Milano has obtained its own style. It is different from any other building in the world. People look at it with awe and admiration. The cathedral is adorned with some 3,400 statues. The statues have been made and donated by numerous sculptors. They have been made in numerous styles. There are also 135 gargoyles and 700 figures.
I've learned that you can actually adopt a gargoyle from the Milan Cathedral.
You can choose any of the 135 gargoyles, or spires as they are called, and donate to help their preservation. From Duomo di Milano, there is a 13-minute walk to Sforzesco Castle, one of the landmarks in Milan. Throughout history, this imposing complex has played many roles: defensive fortress, ducal residence, and a military barracks. Nowadays, its magnificent interior hosts Milano's municipal museums and other cultural institutions. But the castle grounds are fascinating in themselves with large courtyards, massive walls, moat towers, crenulated battlements, and the green expanse of Parco Sempione. Described as a green lung in a hectic city, Parco Sempione is a vast green space very close to the Castello Sforzesco. This is where the sporty Milanese crowd and families spend their Sunday mornings either jogging around the lake, playing a game of basketball, visiting the Civic Aquarium of Milan, or walking along one of the 8 scenic paths. The park is an overall area of over 47 hectares. It has trees, bushes, and flowers dispersed among its many vivid green lawns and a pretty artificial lake which houses numerous kinds of birds. Parco Sempione extends from the walls of the imposing Castello Sforzesco to the elegant pink marble Arco della Pace. Dominating Milan's northwestern landscape is the Arco della Pace, Arc of Peace, Napoleon's 25-meter-high neoclassical arch and one of 5 city gates. It stands at Porta Sempione, in front of Milan's most extensive green space, Sempione Park, and echoes Paris' Arc de Triomphe. Lake Como has been a popular holiday spot since the Roman time, and it's even home to a few famous faces, so you may end up brushing shoulders with celebrities like George Clooney, Sylvester Stallone, and Richard Branson.
Apparently, George Clooney was so fascinated by the area, he bought a villa of the 18th century called Villa Alejandro in the village of Laglio.
Lake Como offers a whole host of activities for visitors, whether it's a boat ride on the lake, hiking the nearby hills and mountains, exploring the mansion's gardens and lakeside promenades, or simply kicking back at a terrace with a cocktail and admiring the view. The interior of the Milan Duomo is welcoming. It's possible to admire its stylized and spacious style with long columns of marble and carved statues that reach the ceiling. Among these columns are hanged large pictures representing different religious scenes. A few minutes from the Milan Cathedral, in a tight street facing the famous chocolate gelato shop, is Luini. A two-door shop with hundreds of customers coming in and out while a long queue waits to be served.
There is nothing more Milanese than sinking your teeth into a panzerotto, and if you ask for a panzerotto in Milan, the answer will be Luini.
An institution easily recognized by the stream of people that flows through the doors of the little shop. Luini, for over 60 years, has been distributing thousands of filled panzerotto to the autochthonous and to visitors every day. Panzerotto is a pillowy fried dough parcels stuffed with tomato and mozzarella.
Someone described it as a closed pizza. I think he was right.
From the Duomo di Milano, there is a 20-minute tram ride to the monumental cemetery of Milan.
Why should we visit a cemetery while on vacation?
Cemeteries, especially the historic ones having extraordinary aesthetic values, are usually perceived as tourist attractions.
If you are interested in sculpture, history, and some breathtaking architecture, you have to put this cemetery on your list as a must-see.
Built in 1866, Monumental Cemetery is the second largest cemetery in the city and the final resting place of wealthy folks and families. The vast cemetery is an open-air museum featuring Italian sculptures, elaborate obelisks, and massive tombs commemorating the dead. It is elaborated by the great sculptors of the 19th and 20th centuries who reflected on a particularly demanding theme, death. The main building of the cemetery, erected at the entrance, primarily was conceived as a church, but then built as a non-religious memorial chapel to accommodate people of all shapes, sizes, and cultures. From the cemetery, there is a 25-minute tram ride to the Church of Santa Maria delle Grazie.
We had to see one of the most famous paintings in the world.
Although the exterior of this church is not one of the most renowned, it still has a certain charm and grace. Inside the building lies one of the greatest artistic masterpieces in the world, The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci, which is located in the refectory of the convent. It measures 460 centimeters in height and 880 centimeters in length and covers the right wall of the refectory. Being home to some of the best ice cream in the world, we had to try some cold, creamy gelato. Milan is bursting with award-winning gelato shops, from tiny artisanal standing room-only shops to sprawling laboratories. The construction of the Duomo positively affected the city beyond its walls. The material used to build the cathedral was the white pinkish marble that comes from Candoglia quarries located roughly 90 kilometers to the northwest of Milan. The architects and masons had to devise ways of transporting the marble to the site fast. They used the available means of transport then, the water. The marbles were navigated to Milan along the rivers, and canals were built where the rivers ended. After the construction was completed, the canals remained and became an attraction. Nowadays, the Navigli canals are part of the city, lined with bars, shops, and street markets. The funicular Como-Brunet is an historic funicular railway that connects the lakeside town of Como with the pretty alpine village of Brunate. You can admire the sweeping views of Lake Como and rugged hills as you climb and then traverse the countryside surrounding Brunate. Then you can wander through the streets of the hilltop town to find good vantage point from which to take in a panoramic view over Como's city center and Lake Como.
The views at the top are magical.
Taking these ferries is not only the easiest way to get around the lake, it's one of the best Lake Como activities since you'll get scenic views too. There is a wide range of tour companies and boat operators that provide trips on the lake. One of the few unknown treats of the Milan Duomo is to go on the roof and see the city from an amazing vantage point. You'll also be able to get up close and personal with the incredible architecture of the building. The rooftop terrace covers an expansive area and is home to myriad of gargoyle statues, spires, and other stone carvings. Walking on the rooftop gives you the chance not only to admire the plaza and the city below, but to get up close and personal with a side of the cities that's otherwise out of reach in many other Italian towns and cities. Milan is Italy's city of the future, a fast-paced metropolis where money talks, creativity is big business, and looking good is an art form. Being the country's financial powerhouse and the home of Italy's stock exchange, Milan is often overlooked by tourists who flock to Rome, Florence, and Venice. While not considered as beautiful as some Italian cities, having been greatly destroyed by Second World War bomb raids, the city has rebuilt itself into a thriving cosmopolitan business capital. In a sense, for tourists, what makes Milan interesting compared to other places is that the city is truly more about the lifestyle of enjoying worldly pleasures, a paradise for shopping, football, opera, and nightlife.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more. Next time we are taking you to Scarborough and Whitby. Till then, keep traveling. See ya.